Hey, hello, good evening. I hope you can hear me okay. Welcome along to this evening's webinar, 5 Ways to Regain Control of Your Money. My name is Daniel Britton from Fearless Finance. You forgot the name of my company then. So welcome along. Have you ever wondered to yourself, I don't know where all my money goes? Or perhaps other statements like, money seems to flow out and as soon as I've earned it, it's gone. Well, there's some good news. If this is you, 1, you're not alone. 2, you're in the right place. And 3, this is a problem with a solution. So here's what you're going to gain from tonight's webinar. 5 easy to implement tools and tactics which you can apply straight away. And hopefully by the end of the next 30 minutes or so together, you're going to feel more calm and more certain about your finances. So that's not a bad project for this Sunday night in between Christmas and the New Year. So a little bit about me, just by way of background, and hopefully give you confidence that you're in safe hands. So I had an early career as a financial advisor. I'm an author of 6 books now, which includes the Financial Fairy Tales series, which are children's books about money. I'm a teacher. I'm the founder of the Fearless Finance Company, and I'm a money coach. So you put all that together, and hopefully you realize that I've got, I don't know, 20 to 30 years of experience in this industry, and hopefully I've got some information that can help you this evening. So let's get started. The first money tool I want to think about is to raise awareness. Here's a question. How much do you earn? Now, I don't expect you to shout it out or even write it down, but the chances are that you will know pretty accurately what you earn, whether that's per hour, per month, or even an annual salary. Yeah? I can envisage you nodding away. All right, here's another question. How much do you spend? Now, that's altogether a more difficult question. Probably the answer is all of it, or maybe all of it plus a bit more. So the first money tool we need to think about is this awareness. What I would recommend is to find or print out your most recent bank and credit card statements. Now, for some people, that's a challenge to begin with. Online banking is a wonderful way of keeping all your information together and cutting down on the paperwork and the clutter, but you need to sign up for your regular statements, and you can find them as PDFs within your account. Credit card statements, again, are something that people rarely look at. But for this exercise, I want you to find this month or last month's statements and have them as a hard copy. Okay, then what we're going to do with those is go through them line by line, each item with a pen or a highlighter. And we're going to make sure that we understand and can explain what each item is. Now, this is sometimes more of a challenge than you think, because you see direct debits going out with just a reference number on them without the name of the person they're going to, or maybe there's information there that you're not sure who that payment is to. But you need to do a bit of detective work and treat it like a game. Just go through it as a bit of a fun exercise to work out what each item is. Okay. Then the chances are you will find unnecessary spending. In fact, I've done this with hundreds of people, and people have found that they can save tens, hundreds of pounds a year by doing this. So you can then cancel any payments which are no longer required. The sorts of things that come up, you get subscriptions for magazines or software that you no longer use. Gym payments are a classic, where people join the gym in January and then disappear by February or March, and they're still paying for the direct debit. Phone insurance, when it's offered when you buy a new phone, and they offer you a couple of free months. In fact, it's a bit of a marketing tactic to offer you free trial membership, 3 months a subscription, and then you just tend to forget about it as it rolls on. And it might only be £7 a month, £12 a month, but you add those up, that could be £200-300 a year, which is just disappearing down the drain. Okay, so money tool number one: raise our awareness and be able to identify anything that's in the bank statements or the credit card. And the added bonus to that is that if you find something that might be fraudulent or might be a mistake, that can quite often crop up too. So you're beginning to become more on top of your money by understanding where it all goes. Okay, which leads us to money tool number two: your money diary. Right, so I don't know if you've ever done a food diary where you write down exactly what it is you eat, and that can begin to track perhaps your calories or things that are upsetting your health in some way. So the money diary acts in exactly the same way. What you need to do is find or buy a little notebook, right? Something you can carry with you all the time in your pocket, your purse, your handbag. Okay, and then for a week, you just need to write down everything that you spend. Right, it's a bit of a faff to begin with, I'll be honest, but you just need to get into the discipline, and it's just for a week, and you're going to write down all the little times that you spend money. So stopping for a coffee, filling up with petrol, buying something for the kids, whatever it might be. Anytime that you spend money for a week, write it down. So this is things that aren't automated through your bank account. Yeah, so things like your mortgage or your rent or your insurance, these go out of your bank account automatically. But this is things that you actually stop and consciously spend money for. Right. What's the point? Well, the point is that you will, first of all, begin to question and become more conscious about every penny you spend. That's not to say you're not choosing to spend your money wisely. It just means that you become more conscious and more aware of it. I'll give you a story as an example. For a while I worked in a college, and in the college there was a nice coffee bar. So in the coffee bar, I got into the habit of going in first thing in the morning for a latte, and then we had a morning break, let's say 11 o'clock, and I'd go again and have another coffee and maybe a cookie or something, and it became part of my routine. Okay, so the lattes were about £2 and the cookies, let's say £1, so that's £5 a day. £5 a day, £25 a week, roughly £100 a month, roughly £1,000 a year when you take out holidays and so on. So I was spending £1,000 a year on fairly average lattes and a cookie that probably wasn't doing my waistline any good. And the irony of it was we had free coffee facilities in the teacher staff room. So I was just literally pouring £1,000 down the sink, or down the toilet in this case. And you think, well, what else could I do with that £1,000? You know, that could be a holiday. That could be £1,000 off your mortgage. That could be £1,000 invested, £1,000 extra into your pension, taking the kids to Disneyland, whatever floats your boat. But it's not a question of me or anybody else telling you what you should do with your money. It's a question of you being aware of where you're spending it. And that's the purpose behind this money tool number two. Okay, let's look at number three. Pay with cash. Right, here's an interesting one. We're living in an increasingly disconnected world. So we've got automated payments from our bank. We've got cashless society in terms of just dabbing our credit cards or our payment cards, or even paying by phone. So we're losing that disconnect, that visceral connection with cash as money. So this is what I'd like us to do for another exercise, just for a week. Take an amount of cash out from the bank at the beginning of the week, put it in your purse or your wallet, and then only spend that cash during the week. Now, from the money tool number two, you can work out roughly what you're spending on a weekly basis. So if you know that you need £100, £200, take that money out and spend it. Just as an exercise, just as a bit of fun, and notice the impact it has on your spending. I predict that one, you become more conscious of what you spend your money on, and two, you'll have more money left at the end of the week than you would previously, because you become more aware, you start questioning your decisions, and hopefully making better decisions on how you spend your money. But remember, it's your money, and if you want to spend £1,000 a year on coffee or more, that's up to you. But this exercise will just help you think about it a little bit more and make better decisions. Okay, so how are we doing so far? We're rattling through at a fair old pace, and we've covered 3 of the 5 money tools that I want to talk about today. Now, with your permission, I'd like to just discuss something where we could take this to the next level and think about how you can really kick off 2019 by understanding your money and by making better financial decisions. So launching in a couple of weeks, less than a couple of weeks, in January, it's my 30 Days to Financial Fitness course. Now, what's this all about? Basically, you'll gain awareness of where your money goes. You'll stop unwanted leaks from your bank account. You'll understand your credit score, why it's important and how you can improve it. You'll tackle your debts, work out exactly what you owe, who you owe money to, what rates of interest you're paying, and a proven system to reduce those and bring them down to 0 and in as short as time as possible. You'll organize your financial life by getting a budget, by systematizing your spending and making it much easier to be on top of your finances, which I know is a lot of people craving for, particularly as we enter a new year. And finally, we'll look at your key financial documents to make sure that you're safe, you're protected, and you'll leave matters in a good state for loved ones. So all within 30 days, this is an inclusive course. You'll get a weekly program, all on video, and you can work through at your own pace. And by the end of the course, you'll get all those benefits and more. Okay, so there's something we'll return to at the end of the course. I just wanted to float that idea with you now as an opportunity to work with me more closely if you want to take this to the next level. All right, so let's go back to our money tools. This is money tool number 4. Right, pay yourself first. Now, this is a classic of the financial education industry, and it's been featured in books such as The Richest Man of Babylon and Think and Grow Rich, some of the classic texts about wealth creation and money management. But what does it actually mean? Well, what tends to happen, if you make a commitment to save, for example, you're probably thinking at the moment, you don't have enough money, you don't have any spare capacity to save. And the danger is that we get paid at the beginning of the month, for argument's sake, we pay out all our expenses, we get to the last week of the month, and we're trying to eke out the last little bit of money. And at that point, you don't have any spare capacity to make any savings. So the idea behind pay yourself first is at the beginning of the month, your first payment is to yourself. You create a habit of saving money and putting it away and showing yourself and the universe and whatever other higher powers you believe in that you're important and your financial future is something you're taking seriously. Okay, so how we put this into effect? First of all, we open a savings account. Now, you may already have a savings account, which is great, but if not, you can do it tomorrow morning, okay? So either online or through your bank, you can open up a savings account. You don't have to worry about particular complications, you know, a cash ISA or a fixed term this or a long term that. I mean, interest rates at the moment in the UK are pretty dire, and whether you're going to get 0.5% or 0.6%, then, you know, at this stage, it doesn't really matter. What matters is the habit of paying yourself first and automatically crediting money to a savings account. Okay, so step 1, you open your savings account. Step 2, you set up a standing order to pay something at the start of every month. Now, how much you pay is up to you, okay? if you get further into money management and budgeting, we'll look at systems and percentages depending on your own individual circumstances. But at this stage, it's important to pay anything, even if it's just a tenner a month. The principle and the habit sends a powerful statement that you value yourself and your financial future. Okay, which leads us to money tool number 5. Now, this is an interesting one. This is something I tried a few years ago, and it worked really well for me. My background, my first job was in banking, and I was a management trainee with a major UK bank. And it was just about the time when ATMs and hole-in-the-wall machines were becoming available. But prior to that, you had to go and write a check. So if you're of a certain age like me, you remember actually physically writing a check to cash and going and queued up in a bank, probably on a Friday lunchtime. Well, in the part of the bank where I worked, we had an admin manager who was like an evil old queen or an evil old witch, whichever way you looked at it. And she would monitor all the staff's bank accounts. And if you were going to be paid, let's say on a Monday, and you went and wrote a check on the Friday, knowing that it probably wouldn't clear, go through the system in time, so technically you wouldn't be overdrawn, she would still haul you down to that office on a Monday morning, and you'd line up like outside the principal's office at school, and get a real good telling off. And her attitude was, if you're not capable of looking after your own money, then you don't deserve to look after other people's. And as a teenager and early part of my career, that really stuck with me about not going overdrawn, about being financially responsible. And I think it shaped a lot of the thinking that I now try and help other people. So money tool number 5 is about having a separate bank account. Now, again, in the UK, we're lucky because we get free banking for the majority of services. In other countries, you have to pay for basic credit, current accounts and so on. Okay, so open up a second bank account. Now, this is why and how this can work. So in bank account number 1, now maybe that's your existing bank account, you make all your priority payments. Okay, so let's assume you're in a job, you get a salary, your salary goes into that account, and then you set up your direct debits and your standing orders, and they all come out of that account. Okay, so this might be things like your mortgage and your rent, your utility bills, and your insurances, that sort of thing. Things you have to pay, maybe you've got a car loan, maybe there's kids' expenses and so on. So that all goes out of your number 1 bank account. All right. Bank account number 2 is for your spending money. Right, so from our money tool exercise number 1, you know how much you spend on monthly payments. Okay, so you've gone through your bank statements and maybe your credit card, and you've looked at that, and you can identify what's your mortgage payment, what's your rent, what's your car insurance, what other expenses you've got coming out, maybe your gas, electricity, broadband, all that sort of stuff, right? So you know how much that is. Right, so what you can then do is take that amount away from your take-home pay, all right, and then you'll know what you've got left to spend, what we call the discretionary or disposable income. You've got that money left. So the remainder can then automatically be sent to your new bank account 2. All right, let me just give you an example. Hopefully I'll make it a little bit clearer. All right, so let's say, imagine your take-home pay is £1,500 a month. Okay, so you might be thinking, well, that's, I wish, or you might be thinking, well, thankfully I'm more than that. But let's just take that as an example because it's simple numbers. Okay, and then we've worked out that our bills and our major expenses, they add up to £1,000 a month. All right, can you see where we're going with this? So how much will be the discretionary income? Can you work that out? Yep, hopefully you can see that you take one from the other and you're left with £500. Right. Now, what I would suggest is you transfer, let's say, 400 or 450 to your new account. Okay, why not the full 500? Well, because occasionally you get things that go out quarterly or annually that you might not be aware of if we just look at this on a month-to-month basis. Okay, so let's say you get an annual direct debit comes out unexpectedly, or something else that comes out once a year or once a quarter that you weren't aware of, like let's say what am I thinking of? TV license can be a quarterly one. That's a good example, or AA membership or something like that. So you just leave a little bit of surplus in that account every month, all right? But the 400 or 450 has gone into your new account. Right, why does this work so well? First of all, you can forget about bank account number one, right? Your money goes in, your money goes out, all your bills are covered every month, and you know that you're safe. Okay, so you get that feeling of certainty, of safety. It's all taken care of. You don't have to worry about money anymore. Okay, that's all done. Now you've got a new bank account with maybe list 400, maybe 450, maybe you've got 4,000 in there. Okay, and that money is then yours to spend, and you can spend that money every month, and you know that all your bills and all your expenses are being covered, and that money is discretionary. So you get a new bank card, you can use that for shopping, you can use that for entertaining, going out, whatever it might be. Okay, and then you're simplifying your financial world. Again, the certainty is that you know all your bills are covered, and you've got that safety and certainty every month, and then you've got a smaller amount to deal with for your day-to-day spending, and hopefully you've done exercise 2, your money diary, so you know roughly what you're spending per week, and you've got much more awareness about where your money's going. Okay, so hopefully you can see how that example might work. You can have this a separate bank account within the same bank, or you can have a completely different one, right? It takes a few minutes to set up, and I think that you will agree that the benefits far outweigh any hassle about opening a new account. Okay, brilliant. So you've got 5 good ideas, I hope, that you will be able to implement fairly quickly and easily. Let's have a quick recap. So here's your checklist. First up, get your bank statements and your credit card statements. Go through each item on the statement with a pen or a highlighter. Make sure you know what each one is, and then take action either to investigate anything unknown or to cancel anything you no longer need, right? Guarantee that's going to save the majority of people a significant amount of money. You can thank me later. Okay, number 2 is your money diary. You write down everything you spend for a week. Yeah, initially it might seem like a bit of a faff, but just treat it like a game. You just write down everything you spend in a little book for a week. Get into the habit, and it's enlightening and empowering how much you spend and where that money goes. And remember, right at the start of the webinar this evening, we said, some people are saying, I don't know where the money goes, or as soon as I get it, it's all spent. Well, now you can eliminate that belief, that excuse, and you'll know where you spend your money, and you can track it. Right, number 3, only spend cash during the next week. So once you've worked out how much you spend, you can then withdraw that amount of money in cash, and you can say, right, I've got £200, £500, whatever it is for that week. Okay, and you spend the money for the week, and you become more aware of where your money is going. And again, 9 times out of 10, people have money left at the end of the week when they didn't before. It's a bit like sometimes if you go on holiday and let's say we're going to Spain or Greece or somewhere, and you withdraw some euros and you've got cash, and you find you spend less money because you've got cash than you would if you were consistently swiping your credit card or tapping it and so on. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4 was to open a savings account and set up a standing order. So this is a very important idea about paying yourself first. Okay, so you have your savings account, you set up a standing order. So on the early part of every month, assuming that's when you get paid, you put some money into that savings account. Okay, and it can start off a very small, seemingly insignificant amount, but you let it build up and you let it grow over time, and you set that habit and that intention and that desire to pay yourself first. Okay, and then finally, a little bit more advanced maybe, but it's certainly something that's worked. Open up a second bank account. work out what your monthly spending money is, what goes out automatically, and then transfer your discretionary disposable income into your new account, and you can just use that to spend. You forget about your other account, and you've got the confidence and the certainty to know that all your bills are paid and your major purchases are handled, and you've just got the money to spend on what you need to and what you like to. Okay, so it's a way of simplifying your financial world and hopefully taking back a little bit more control. Great. Okay, so let me just return to the 30 Days to Financial Fitness course for you. This is what it's all about. You're going to benefit by investing in yourself and taking the 30 Days program. Here's some of the transitions you're going to experience. So you move perhaps from a state of overwhelm to calm. Some people feel panic about their finances, and you can move from a state of panic to confidence. You'll move from fear to certainty, and even from shame to pride, knowing that you've taken steps to get on control, get on top of your money, get in control of your money, and you're the master of your own destiny, which is a fantastic place to be. So the course is launching Monday the 7th of January. And week by week, you'll get new content on our special learning platform. And this allows you to travel through the program at your own pace. And also all the content and the videos are yours to keep forever. So you can go back and review an element as often as you wish. Here's some of the main highlights again. You'll gain awareness of where your money goes. You'll stop these unwanted leaks. You'll know and improve your credit score, which is really important for any sort of lending, credit cards, mortgages, either now or in the future. You'll have a systemized program to tackle your debts. You'll get a suggested budget and a way of simplifying your financial life, and understand the key financial documents you need and how to get those organized. So if you're interested, head over to fearlessfinance.co/30 days. There's a money back guarantee with the program, because I'm convinced that you will make or save more money than the program costs. The investment in the program you will make back within those 30 days, or you get your money back. I can't say fairer than that. So the discounted price, because you're on today's webinar, is a 50% discount. It's normally £97 for this 30-day program.